alter one kite. I'm already into the 420, damn it.
So what are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
You like music, you like weed, well, we gonna be good friends indeed. This is how much I like more than smoking trees. They'll make you dance the do-si-do and teach you how the chiba grows. Smoke a bowl on the 420 radio show. On Lifestyle Radio.
It is. Hello, guys. Welcome to the spooky version of the 420 radio show.
Is everyone going to unmute themselves?
Yeah, everybody has to unmute themselves. What's going on, people of the weed? We are here live.
Baked.
Happy All Hallows Eve.
Devil's Night.
Devil's Night. We are on YouTube tonight. If anybody wants to listen, you can share that shit now, guys, as well. On the YouTube. I'm gonna share it
on the Facebook.
I'm gonna share it on the Facebooky, and then we'll. There we are right now. There we are. Pardon the sound here for a second. We are on. There you go. See, there's sound. Yeah. Better like that shit. Come on, people.
I'll share it on Facebook so people know where it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Because most of them are sitting there waiting for a Facebook feed.
Yeah, it wouldn't let me do the Facebook feed this evening. What time is it?
Evening.
Supper time, Eric's time.
4 o'clock.
Yeah, 4 o'clock. See, Eric gets to spend 420 with us.
Yes.
I do 420 all day long.
Well, me too, but there's always an excuse.
Special at 420.
Well, 420 usually smoke too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Zach can, Eric.
All right, we have shared everything, and now we are here. We are live, and what the... Okay, so listen. I asked a question earlier today, okay? Just because I went to the res and I got some meds, and there was a hair in it. So I was curious to know if LPs put hair in their weed just to, seem normal. Do you guys include
one every 1,000th can?
Do you guys have now? My serious question here, okay? Is there a regulation about hair in cannabis? How much there can be, how much there can't be, things like that.
I believe the rule is 0.
but
that's comforting.
It would fall under the the food regulations.
Well, yeah.
Right? So it's whatever the food regulations say is successful. I mean, you're allowed to have so many bugs in your flower.
That's what I'm getting at. So
yeah, I know what you meant. Yeah.
So I'm curious to know if, and there's been a lot of people that have answered. So I'll read some here as soon as I.
Oh, I was reading them earlier, but you got to remember that most weed that you get from your dealer that has a hair in it's usually dog hair.
Yeah. Or cat.
Right?
I know this.
I mean, it gets disturbing if it's like a pubic hair.
I don't think I haven't seen any short and curlies in there. Yeah, but I did find a dog hair in my weed that I got from the res. And that's okay because you know what? It would be in there if I went down the road because Buddy has a dog too.
Well, right. My cannabis that I grow at home has hair in it because I'm a female and I am constantly shedding. So I find my hair tangled up in bud because it gets sucked in through the fan or whatever.
Wear a hairnet. All the time. As soon as you walk in your house,
when you burn it, it's sanitary anyways. It goes it's clean, it's fine. It's my hair. I can live with that.
It's her hair, and she can cry if she wants to.
From my understanding, when it comes to anything going into those containers, there's very little tolerance in packaging for almost anything other than bud in the cans or in jars. So we go through UV sterilization and all kinds of, procedures to ensure those containers don't have any foreign obstacles in them.
So let's take one step back here, Eric. This is Eric, and I've forgotten your first name or last name. I'm sorry. Yeah, I forgot your first name, man. Eric, I forgot your first name.
You remember it. You got to say it's the trick.
So introduce yourself, Eric, and before you start dispelling all this stuff, and tell us who you are and why you're here.
I didn't mean to interject.
That's okay. No, hey, that's what we do here.
That's your job to do.
So, yeah, my name is Eric Marciniak, of course, and I'm with Nitrotin. Nitrotin provides packaging to the LP sector. We provide a package that would enable somebody that grows it to be proud of their product at the end of it when somebody opens it. So having said that, we package it for licensed producers.
Yeah.
And, we...
Do you have one you can show us? Do you have one you can hold up?
Yeah. So True Row Cannabis actually puts the cans weed in it.
Yes, I have one, actually, but it's at home.
Nitrotin actually only supplies the equipment and the cans to the industry, although we are starting to work with toll processors and we're getting more involved with the actual getting to choose what kind of product goes in the cans. We want to ensure that the can's also branded, so we're not just trying to put any product in. We want to put good quality, something that the grower can be proud of showing off. And that's what we aim to do. I've been in the industry most of my life. Started growing it when I was 14 years old. Got licenses for my wife and I when, back in 2003, 2004. We've gone through all kinds of cancers and diseases, and we really thank the product for keeping us alive and healthy. And, we've had a lot of experience growing it, making products. Packaging came new to us, but it was an interesting endeavor. And when it went legal, it was more than just you growing it and, giving a little bit to your neighbor or your friends. It's now going all over the planet. We have to ensure it's safe. It doesn't go bad. And we want to avoid things like hairs and mold and rocks and, sinkers and everything else you might find in that product.
Yeah.
We do our best to ensure our clients who are putting the product in are following procedures. Everyone has to follow a tight game these days, but I've been in so many facilities. When you go in, Al, they make you wear a beard. I have a little beard, so I got to wear a beard net, or eyebrow nets almost now. So, by the time you go in there, I find it pretty hard that a hair would get through. I mean, Lenny can attest to that, but you know what? We're all human, and those hair nets have their thing.
Well,
but in our case,
go ahead, sir. We're talking Marcel.
In our case, we also walk through UV sterilization.
You have a clean hair.
We have the ultimate cleaner. So, and you get to stay in there for a little while and do a little dance and splash around, and when you go out, you're sterile. Is it overkill? No. Would we have done this 15, 20 years ago? No.
I got a question for you, Marcel. Do you guys have on your windows at the doors when you come in UV lighting? I notice
I don't know.
If you go if you go into Sunnybrook Hospital, and if you walk and turn around when you walk in the front door, the main door, if you turn around and look at the top of the frame of the door, you will see a UV blacklight that is on, and it hits everybody who comes in and out of that door. And my question to Lenny on a medical side of things, does it really work, or is it just a bunch of nose hair pulling?
UV light works. I can't comment if that system works. It's got to be the right, obviously, intensity, distance, so forth. Like we have our grow rooms, and like Marcel, like we have UV therapy treatments. I won't say the brands because obviously some shit you want to keep a little bit secret, but some work better than others.
Now, is that to eliminate spores and whatnot that are airborne?
Yep.
Does it work for COVID?
Oh, COVID? Well, listen, everyone's going on about this second wave of COVID. It never went away. It's the summer. It doesn't like the heat and the UV sunlight. But it never went away. But all of a sudden, sun's going down. Sound like the Hulk and MCU.
Yeah.
But same as the reason the flu comes back every fall, right? Doesn't like that heat in the summer. So no, outdoors is great in the summer. That's why it all went down, but it never goes away.
You think it's going to be a rough summer or a rough winter?
I think it's the winter that I was always expecting.
You know, there's some things we can do from our industry. I take CBD every day, and CBD is an anti-inflammatory, natural anti-inflammatory. I work with a lot of scientists as well, and, you know, there's some really good understanding of taking certain products as a treatment. CBD and cannabis, you know, are being explored all the time and showing tremendous results.
But yet now it's illegal.
What is?
CBD in Canada.
CBD has always been illegal in Canada.
Okay.
It's been as illegal as THC.
But it was never pursued. Now it is.
Because it was never publicly advertised like it was.
Yeah.
And I'll give you a good example. We had a dispensary open in our town. Our town does not need a dispensary because pretty much every second house grows their own. And this is long before legalization. But they opened a dispensary, and they did a big newspaper blurb advertising that they were in town and how they were selling CBD products, which were perfectly legal. And as soon as the prosecutor read the article, he just sent the police and said, bring them in. So they went in, they raided him, closed him down, and they charged him. He got his fine and he got his record and probation or whatever else he got. And we still don't have an illegal dispensary in this town because our prosecutors had to fight cannabis laws so much in this area that he knows the law and he knows what's right and what's wrong. So as soon as he advertised CBD, he was busted.
You know, there was a time just a couple of years ago when every single store you went into in the city had CBD pens, and they still do. But you know, through investigations and stuff like that, people are finding that they're what? What are you breaking up? I think it's just him.
Up?
Lenny is breaking up.
Really, when you look at it, all of these ones that are selling CBD, and there's thousands of them. Yeah, thousands of them are doing it.
Yeah.
Right? The problem is the cops can't go and bust all of them. So you know what the cops are looking for is who's supplying them.
The distributor.
Because that's who they want, right? They want the distributors and they want the manufacturers.
Yep, absolutely.
So CBD is a lot more dangerous to sell anyways than THC. You know, it interacts with other drugs. It's a blood thinner. And, you know, we ran dispensaries for years. We've seen so many things wrong with the CBD market. It's not all the same. Most of it's an isolate from China or from somewhere else. They're making CBD out of orange peels. It's not the same product. I grow a really nice cannabis plant that has, you know, 0.6 or 0.7 THC. It'll sit around 15% CBD. It's a marijuana plant. It's a beautiful plant. It has amazing effects. When you take your medicine from a good starting position and a good genetic and it's safe, that's the only safe way to take it. I don't believe in, you know, taking it down to an isolate at this point. I like the entourage effect. And, you know, a lot of people are getting sick because they're smoking propylene glycol, vegetable glycerin, all these carrier oils. We've made oil. You know, if people spend more money on a battery and a preheater, get the proper product, they don't need to thin it out like water. And yeah, I think the whole market needs to be shaken up, and they've got to get rid of a lot of those adulterants in the CBD. It's not regulated enough. I hate to say that. I'm not looking for more regulation. We're looking for safety and people to come up and tell you when that product is something in it that's not really good for you.
My only main concern is not knowing what products are actually in the product.
That's right.
Okay. So if you do it yourself, you know what's going on. Can you tell me a little bit about your can and what's the difference between your can and the tuna can down the road?
So, you know, there's a couple of things that we started to look for. Number one, you know, the product can't just be sitting up against steel or metal. In the old days, we used to put it in tuna cans. It was in there for a short period of time. We've learned a lot about heavy metals and about how things transfer. Well, you know, we put a coating. These are organosol vinyl coatings. So they're very, very safe. They're one of the highest end food grade coatings you can get.
Just to step back to, was about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, when a certain LP was coming out with beverages, they found that the beverage, when it went in the can, was at one level, and then when the customer opened the can, it was another level. They determined that it was the tin was absorbing a lot of the medical aspects. Well, I mean, the recreational aspects of it, really, I guess.
It sticks to the sides.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah. Just like I have a magic butter machine, and when you make stuff out of it, if you look at the end, you'll see the residue on the side of it. Yeah, there are ways to keep it, but you know.
I have residue on almost everything I have in my house.
Yeah, I got oil on all my clothing.
I don't think I have a shirt that doesn't have a burn mark in it.
So, you know, I think, you know, again, going back to what we tried to do with the cans, you know, I ran a dispensary in Kelowna for 5 years. And it was in 2018, they kind of made a bit of a stink about it. Up until then, we had been operating, City knew we were there. I worked with a lot of people. We did a lot of PTSD work. We were developing products in our grows and providing them to veterans, providing them to people who needed them. So when you're moving it through stores, all of a sudden you start seeing shelf life starting to affect these products. As a grower, I like to get it down to about 14%. And you know, that's a nice 13-14% moisture content in the buds, really nice for me. Unfortunately, what we saw in the market was a lot of, you know, 6-7% dry stuff, and it takes the fun out of smoking it, takes a lot of the effect away. Terpenes are gone. So if you can maintain that moisture without getting sick, how do you do it? So basically, if I put it in a can and I put a little drop of nitrogen, liquid nitrogen in it, and it's microdose, all it does, it's spinning around there, pushes the air out. When I get that air out, it's about a 3-second spring. It goes over to a second part of the machine, and it hermetically seals a lid on it. Once we do that, you've locked out the oxygen. Oxygen is the problem for everything except us humans. So when you get down to under 8.7% oxygen, that's considered a modified atmosphere package. That means you're less likely to get any kind of growth in there. You're less likely to have microbial issues. We can get down to 2 to 3% oxygen. Very, very low. It means you extend the shelf life. So when it goes through these government supply chains and unionized workers, it's going to take sometimes a lot of time to get to the store and for you to get it to your house. By the time it's gotten there, it's already 6 months and it's probably dried out. If it was put in too moist, it could possibly go bad. And we've had some of that in the early days. Guys tried to get away without using an inert gas, put in a moist bud into a bag, close it up. Even though that was treated or irradiated, it still developed bad issues. So to avoid that can with the proper coating, drop in nitrogen, that's me as a grower liking that idea. The government needs it to be safe for children. We agree. The pull tab itself on the can, where's my empty one here? Pull tab. So we take this can, push down slightly on the top, turn it. There's your child-resistant lid. But it's also friendly for people that have arthritis.
Yeah, it's very easy to open, yeah.
Easy to open, but tested at poison control in the U.S. and got certified. We have the records, how many kids, how many adults, and it passed everything. It was very, very easy for adults to use it.
I like it because you can use it over and over again.
Yeah, so exactly. I have them all over the house, everything from in my garage, nuts and bolts, to food products, to other weed. I do grow my own. So we added a gasket, and when you close it back up and reseal it, you maintain the smell in the can. You also, minimize the effects of getting oxidation. Now, I'm going to crack this one. It's got the tab slightly up on it, so that's a good indication it's got a nice charge. You can hear the sound. I wish you could smell it. I wish you could smell it.
I can't smell that, Eric.
Here, have a smell there, Darcy. Can you see that?
I can taste that.
That looks nice.
On the screen, Darcy.
Is that pineapple?
This is actually from a friend of mine named Matt on the East Coast, and it's called Matt's Rockstar. So I had some seeds given to me, and I grew them up last year, and it's really an interesting plant because I grow a lot of Rockstar, and my Rockstar is very diesel-y, like gassy. This is very aromatic, sweet. Do you know the genetic, Darcy?
What's that?
Darcy, do you know that genetic that he has?
I haven't smelled it myself, no, but I knew he had it.
I have to put a bub in the in the pipe right now as I'm talking because it's
No, you're not allowed to smoke on the air. Sorry.
Oh no, I'm not on the air. I'm on a bar stool.
Yeah, that's true, Eric. Yeah.
So, once we get the can sealed up, once we put the pull tab, this is actually, at point of sale, it's probably good enough for child resistance. We didn't want to have to add a lot to the can. We really want to be sustainable. We needed to put a child resistant reseal lid on it, so that's what we do. So it's as sustainable as we can make it. This plastic lid is still recyclable, both components.
And it reseals, eh?
Pardon me?
It reseals.
It reseals, yeah. You could take one of these cans, fill it up with water, shake it around, doesn't leak.
So, are there, Marcel will know this, are there many options that LPs can use as far as packaging? I've just heard that they're even allowed to use the resealable packages,
They use
the foil bags.
Yeah, the foil bags, yeah.
Yeah, they're allowed foil bags. Usually, you'll see those in the larger quantity sizes, ounces and things like that.
They are, yeah.
Yeah, but because they're sealed, they have to be torn open, and that's considered child resistant or child proof or whatever it's called.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because it has to be torn open to be able to open the Ziploc.
Okay.
So once you go to once it's open that first time, it's technically not child resistant after you open it.
So it's not reusable, technically.
And then it's up to the parent or the adult to secure that as medicine.
But those would be that would be the bare minimum for security purposes, per se.
Yeah,
safety
what
purposes.
they would send you.
Yeah.
Yeah, for packaging.
I didn't know that. I was watching something and they mentioned that LPs in Canada had a choice of several different ways that they can ship and package. And that was one of them. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was because, when this all started, everybody was going on the packaging. It's a box and then a plastic thing in there and then another plastic bag inside of that. It's like so much waste. Oh, my God. And to find out that now they've got packages like the Nitro Tin and other tuna can type of
but they've also kind of changed the rules there a bit where they've lessened that so that you don't need to have your container in the box as long as your label fits the container.
I'll give you a little background of the options. So you have your bags, your Mylar bags, you have your plastic containers, these ones. And you'll have your plastic or other containers that have a box around it. All Health Canada maintains is it has to be initially child resistant.
Mm-hmm.
You have to meet the specs as far as warnings, Health Canada logo, size that way. Then it's really up to the LP's choice. I'll give you why Truro Cannabis went with the nitrogen package. Mylar bags, some you can even seal with a little bit of nitrogen as well, but our concern was product's going to get crushed on shipping. So that's why we didn't go with a bag.
They take a lot of room up as well I have a friend out here that has
they're going to get squished.
Well, his store, when they got their first order of these bags in with nitrogen, they looked like they were really ready to blow up chip bags. And
yeah,
so
they've
take
up a lot of shipping space.
They've tried to do the nitrogen thing with other types of containers as well.
Try those things.
Okay.
It's not
the difference again with ours is this is non-permeable. Nothing gets through it.
Yes.
I have a plastics company. We don't use plastic. We have a bio-resins company. We're trying to develop plastic out of hemp, and we're not there yet. And there's some composite materials out there that people are using, but they last as long as anything else, as any other plastic. So until we get a trigger mechanism to break it down, this is the best choice for being recyclable.
If you can tap the hemp container market, dude, you've got it.
We have hemp in the fields. We've been growing hemp for 5 years. We actually grow, I would say it's a hybrid cannabis hemp plant. We're getting our registration this year in Canada as a higher CBD variety industrial hemp because it comes under 0.3 in the THC. And, that market is changing. And if you look at live resin extraction, if you look at taking that plant out of a field and using, cryogenic systems to immediately freeze that in the field and get the biomass down on it, you end up with a really nice product pulling out. That live resin smells exactly like what it came off of. When it goes through the whole process and we keep it cold and live, at the very end of it, it's what you found in the field. You can take an isolate and a distillate and you can churn them up, but the truth is the real plant is going to be coming down without being heated up, and I think that's the future of it. And when you look at the cans, we're talking about being able to take those products that are live resin, which break down with air. So that live resin material, by putting it into a can with our technology, you're not going to get de-waxing, you're not going to get separation in your concentrates. So there's a lot of interest in, using the nitrogen for a lot of different processes that we use in the industry.
Yeah.
And, again, when you're talking about live resin materials, it needs to be in something like this down the line with enough inert gas to keep it from going bad. Live resin doesn't have very good shelf life. So
terpenes are volatile, Eric.
There you go.
I like. They're also completely sealed from light and everything. So
correct.
Yeah.
There's three things that degrade cannabis, guys. 3 things: light, temperature, oxygen.
Life.
So, if you kept your can of product in the car in the summertime in 110 degrees,
it ain't going to last that long.
Yeah. It's not going to last long at all. Yeah. So you have to have common sense with all technology when it's packaging. So getting it into a nice, cool environment without light is the first thing. Personally, I use a humidor for a lot of my products. For my personal, I have a nice little humidor in the room. Once I open my can, I just set it inside the humidor and set it. And, it doesn't always last all that long anyways. But
yeah, I smoke it before it gets dry anyways.
Yeah, so the problem is if it's coming to us dry already, that's an issue.
These are the kind of things that you get when you go down to the reservation in Alderville. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Pill bottle.
Yeah. They pop up, and then they've got the bigger ones as well.
What are they made of?
Plastic.
Yeah.
Canada's coming out again with, they're going to be wanting to ban plastic. Now look at what we're doing.
Single use, yeah.
Well, COVID's come out. We have these things. Oh, let me get this. Knocking it out.
As he knocks his whole desk over onto the floor. Patricia.
Well, we have these things all over the beaches now. They're all over town.
Yep.
They're everywhere.
Everywhere.
Mask and gloves everywhere. Let's add on to that with more plastic.
Yep.
So,
we don't have the gloves now, but we still have the mandatory masks in all of our stores and businesses. And
yeah. So we're contributing to waste again, and we were all on the track of going a little more green as a planet, and then COVID hit, and everyone, now we can't reuse because we're scared of reusing things. So we throw it all away once. That's going to go away real quick. We're going to come back to looking at saving the planet, at least keeping it somewhat.
Well, I like the fact that grocery stores are going back to bags, and so and they're also giving out sacks for $1, reusable sacks, that kind of thing.
Where are the paper bags? Why are paper bags?
I don't know. It was a convenience thing.
We cut trees down for those damn bags.
But paper bags are coming back, but there's a charge for them. Walmart has announced that they're doing it.
Fuck Walmart.
Sobeys has been doing it for a while. Sobeys hasn't been allowing plastic bags in a while.
Metro has their own.
Unless you bring your own. If you bring your own Superstore bags, they'll fill them up.
Yep.
Didn't Sobeys invent the plastic bag?
They were known as the Sobeys bag for a long time.
Were they?
Yeah. It could have been.
I heard that.
Now I'm gonna have to find out.
So we're gonna try something different here on our break. I got a video that I loaded up, and I'm hoping that the share works a little better than it did last time. So let's see here if I can load this up, and then we will.
That's good rosin.
That was a good spoon. Holy
I
crap.
bet you it was.
I gotta
say, it sucks because you can't even come down this way because then you got to quarantine for fucking 14 days.
Who?
Eric, if he was to come down. Whoa.
What
Now
would
I see
happen
your.
there?
Unless he came down for work and got a COVID test when he arrived.
Okay.
Okay, guys.
Wait, I thought you said Eric was in Canada.
He's in.
Eric's in BC.
In BC.
Yeah, so
We don't let nobody's allowed.
Atlantic Canada is like a new country.
Yeah, nobody's allowed into. Yeah.
Hey guys. Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Can I play this video?
No.
I don't know. Can you?
Okay. We'll be right back.
Oh.
I pulled this vehicle over for suspicion of cannabis use. I'm going to administer the new roadside saliva drug test. It's my first time administering it in the field, but I'm pretty confident it's going to work.
Can't hear, Al. Sorry.
You can't hear it?
Give me a mixed box of Timbits, like 2 breakfast sandwiches, and some matches.
Do you know why I stopped you?
Oh, because this isn't a Tim Hortons.
I have reason to suspect that you're on THC.
Oh, dude. I don't know how we got on the highway.
I'm going to administer the saliva test.
Oh, man, I didn't even study.
Okay, I need you to spit in the tube.
Oh, my God, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I just want you to concentrate, okay?
Dude, I think he wants you to spit in it too.
Yeah, exactly, okay? I want you to spit. What the hell was that?
He told me to spit.
You said spit.
You're not even driving.
Yeah, it's a good thing, too, because he's way too high.
You know what? I'm just going to swab my own face. I'll get the sample that way. Wait a minute. What happened to my test tube? That's it. Out of the car, please. Hey! Stop! Come back here! Come. Whoa! Hit the brake! Hit the brake! Hit the brake!
Cool.
Never drink and drive. And if you have to smoke pot, please park and spark. We have no idea how we're going to deal with
Hit
this.
the brake!
A message from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
Well, we got to hear it right
You're
at the
listening
end.
to the randomness that is 420radio.com. Sorry, that's 420radio.ca. Powered by ADHD and fueled by cannabis.
You heard the end of it?
Yeah, the volume picked up at the end.
I'm sorry, guys. Well, you'll have to listen to the video because you'll hear it at in the video.
Trying to get the gist of it.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. It's 22 minutes. Yeah. So, anyways, so we're back. It's the 420 Radio Show. We are live here at 420radio.ca. If you sitting here listening to us ramble on and you think you got something better to say, hey, feel like, say hello. Right, Len?
Right on. Everyone else is still on mute.
I'm
everybody has
Mary Jane's not.
I'm just generally
asking.
quiet.
I'm asking everybody to unmute now. What are you doing, Mary Jane?
I feel bad to show you because you guys are talking about like single-use plastic, and I'm putting earrings onto single-use plastic and in single-use plastic bags.
MJ, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Shameful.
I am. I actually was sitting here
Shameful.
going, I need to create business cards and just use those.
You could probably put the nitrogen containers.
Oh, that's awesome.
Or
We should do that.
when everyone's done with their nitrogen container, mail it to Mary Jane.
Yes. There you go.
And then free packaging.
Refurbish.
Yes.
Then you just make a label that goes around to cover their label.
That's label transferring. Sounds illegal.
I was using these 10 years ago.
You can turn your light on if you need it, Tim.
Hillary said something, and I missed it.
You what?
Oh, Hillary says she reuses those bags, beads, buttons, arty-farty stuff.
I've been reusing my sandwich bags for years.
Okay, we gotta have a quiz here. Something's been bothering me. We've been talking about hair and stuff, so we should have a quiz. We should wait till Darcy comes back.
I'm right here.
All right. See, when Darcy talks, his video comes up, and over on the side,
that does look pretty gross.
What looks like two hairs.
No, there's no hair in my rug.
Dead bug.
Everyone said there's a dead bug in it, but it's not.
But over on the side, do you see what looks like two hairs? Looks like maybe cat hairs, right where Darcy's head just.
Okay, I'm gonna hold on. Let me spotlight Darcy so that we can all see. There we go.
See, you guys are all guys. As a female, I'm looking at that, going, that looks like a wax strip from like when I went to the salon and had like, I don't know, maybe 40-year-old virgin had his chest hair waxed off. That's kind of.
Wax on, wax off.
I knew right away what it was. I knew that it was.
Oh, I knew what it was, but it looked like
wasn't.
a bug.
But it's just that every night or every time he's been talking, I've been looking at these hairs, and then I look at that, and then I look at these hairs, and I think maybe they should be shaved.
It almost looks like there's a face in the middle, like there's a rosin monster coming out.
A rosin monster.
I'm gonna go smoke them here soon.
Darcy, the rosin monster.
Well, so open it up and see if it's hair or if it's a wrinkle.
With some of this diesel kush.
I think if it's your hair, you don't care.
Can I tell you guys something unique about nitrogen that Eric, I don't even think even knows?
Okay.
Ooh, yes.
Ooh.
I don't even know if Darcy and Marcel know this.
Enlighten our brains, buddy.
So we have a few cans of nitrogen in R&D, and we threw in some shitweed, just garbage, and we keep doing testing every so many months just to see what's happened to them. So we put one in that actually had some microbial yeast and E. coli and stuff. Anyway, 9 months later, we did another test, just checking the cannabinoids, and they changed a little bit, a couple percent, nothing crazy. Moisture was bang on, but the microbes were all dead.
You can't live without
that's
oxygen.
Cool.
It was just happened to be one little couple can test that we did. But
why is they dead? Is that because they've basically been starved of oxygen?
Basically, yeah.
Survive. Well, Lenny, did you guys notice? Did you notice the nose that it improved at all? Did you get any spikes in these terpenes?
A couple terpenes changed, cannabinoids changed a couple percent. The one thing that did not change, moisture was exactly the same 9 months later.
That's a good liability protection, eh? Because a lot of guys are complaining when they buy LP weed that they're getting, ripped off on the weight because it does dry out a little bit. There's no getting around it unless you put it in a can.
Does your weight fluctuate in the tin?
Oh, because the moisture doesn't change.
After how long?
We're at least 9 months right now. Nothing changed.
So you're up to a 9 months test now?
That's just in house and churro.
We go 3 years.
I have 2 of them.
What's the longest you've done, Eric?
3 years.
3 years.
So I opened up a can that was 2.5 years last summer with one of the guys from Churro. Actually, it was actually in the spring.
Yes, we did, Eric.
Yeah.
We tried some of the 2 year stuff at Lyft.
Yeah. I did it with Danny in Edmonton when we did an install for a company out there. I opened it up and videoed it, and Danny and I both looked at it. It had been in the can for over 2 years, and it was identical to when I put it in because I grew it.
Cool.
So we get a lot of craft guys. We get a lot of craft guys in the industry that are looking for recognition for their work. You know, they've done a lot of serious growing. They've got genetics. The problem is once you send it off for 6 months in a baggie, you know, and that's the difference. So we
What about a plastic jar?
What's that?
I'm teeing you up. What about a plastic jar?
Well, you know, you can use plastic, and you could use, you know, all kinds of options. The truth is, plastic recycling, because I was involved with plastics in the past in another company, and we recycle plastic by shredding it down into chips and tiny micropic sized pieces of plastic in order to get it back into the system and use it properly. We break it down. It's almost nano. That plastic gets everywhere. It's so small, it's like fish food. So fish eat it, you know, when it goes through the system. I'm not preaching that all plastic is bad. I'm just saying we need better ways to recycle it.
I
and
will.
At this point, recycling plastic doesn't really save anything. Recycle this tin can. It's a tin can. It was a tin can 100 years ago. It'll be a tin can or a car fender, you know, when it gets recycled again.
Or a pot can. Or a pot can.
Pot can would be even better. Maybe it never leaves the house. Right? Maybe you use it for everything. So sustainability.
I know people I'm going to get people in education. Everyone looks for this like BPA-free plastic. People got to remember there's BPA B, C, D, and E. Plastics are going to leach no matter what.
Let me ask a question. Does hemp cause any issues when you use it for packaging?
Does hemp cause any issues when you use it? Like, you mean making a container out of
Yeah.
a hemp composite?
Is there leaching? Is like when you make a hemp plastic, is there leaching, things like that? Is that stuff you have to worry about?
Yeah, you know why? Because it's almost all glue holding it together still.
Ah, okay. So
And
somebody needs to come up with a hemp glue to hold the hemp together.
So we are, you know,
It's called
we
THC.
looked at this, you know, taking bioresins and making plastics. You can do it. It's just that we can actually do a good job of it. It doesn't break down any easier than plastic. When you look at hemp in general, we like hemp composites, but we got to get a little better at it. We're not quite there. So I see hemp containers. They're going to be permeable for one, so they're going to allow air to go through them eventually. I don't know if they have to put I imagine they'd have to put an FDA approved coating inside it. I don't know if the cost would be any less, but I can tell you, you'll get much better performance out of this. I can drop it on the ground. I can step on it. You know, like I can put it in my back pocket. I'm not going to leak. I'm not going to lose it. And the kids are going to have a hard time getting at it. So, you know, we pay an extra 10 or 20 cents or 30 cents at retail. I used to sell a $50, $60 product. It didn't matter if the package cost me as the vendor $1 or 10 cents or 40 cents. It really didn't matter. You know, the liability issues to not use something as to not use a good package, I'd be scared of. People can get sick. We come from the old school. Our motto was always do no harm. Right? So when we tried to help someone, the last thing we want to do is make their condition worse or less manageable. We dealt with people that were sick, had cancer, you know, like we wanted to make life easy for them. So you don't want to make their medicine go moldy. You don't want to sell them dried out product. We have a responsibility to do it right. And you know what? You're not going to lose profit in the long run by spending a few extra pennies on a good package for your clients. That's really what we try to let our sector know.
What are there different sizes?
Yeah, primarily right now we could, that we're working on one that'll, pull an ounce. Mostly Canadians buy 8s, 3.5 grams.
Yep.
That's like a pack of smokes to us. Like we buy these things, 80% of the market that I've seen, people still buy these.
Is that true at the LP level as well, guys?
It's changing a bit.
The eighth is the big mover.
Yeah.
For the big
Pre-rolls
movers.
are coming up, right?
But we had a chat with a lady at one of the NSLC stores, and she said now one of their bigger sellers are the ounces.
Yeah, but that's honestly, most of those ounces are shit. They're just charging it cheap.
That's true.
You're not getting an ounce of fucking 24, 25%, be it us or Miski. You know what I mean? It's the LP's cheaper mid-grade stuff, which is fine.
Well, there's a lot of problems right now. There's a lot of overbuilt up inventory. They got to move it somehow. So discounting the price and putting it into larger containers.
The only reason they're discounting their prices, dude, is because they have to compete with the black market. So, I mean that you've got LPs now going as low as $5. I know that Cafe in Toronto, all of their stores, they have strains as low as $5. Although I have not been in there in a while. Typically at the reservation, you're looking at $100 ounces. Sometimes 2 for 1. Sometimes buy one get one half.
I literally just bought an ounce for $40.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to compete with those prices.
They're going down.
And you bought an ounce for $40.
What is that ounce like? I mean, honestly.
You know what? Honestly, I always make sure I go to the same place, and they never buy shit. And it was called Widow, and it surprisingly was terpene filled. Didn't taste like it was too green. And you could tell it was outdoor, but it was trimmed. It could have been trimmed better, but I mean, for $40 an ounce, I'm not going to bitch.
You don't complain.
Right?
Could be a good product for that price,
I have a better question.
Oh, and I want to say, and the ash was white.
Can you show us? Or do you have any left?
Wow, I think I smoked a lot of it.
I can show you what I've been getting from Sweet Leaf. They're smaller buds, but
Small bud.
Oh yeah.
Look how yours looks like it's on TV.
Yeah.
Mine doesn't.
That's the zombie kush.
Hand trim.
Yeah. And this is and these are very small buds as well. But, they're nice. Let me see if I can find a big one. No.
So what strain was that one?
This is the
the
Orange Crush. The other one is Zombie Kush.
Oh, that's the Orange Crush. Show me the Orange Crush again.
I just put it away, dude.
I had the Orange Crush. I didn't like that one. I found the terpenes on the Orange Crush. Okay, so I don't know.
They're all very oily. Like when you're burning it, like you've got to wipe your lips off before you go down the road. Otherwise, you look like you got lipstick.
Well, I don't know what terpene it is, but there is a terpene to me that smells like chicken noodle soup.
Are you sure it's a terpene?
Not.
I would think so. Well, what else would it be?
$40, I don't know.
There's also things called flavonoids.
Yes.
And they're the ones that give you the flavor that are slightly different than what the terpene or what this terpene, which is the smell, give you.
Well, that would probably be what it is because it smells and tastes like it.
In BC here, you could probably buy outdoor weed in the fall for about $500 to $700 a pound. So at $500 a pound, it's about $30 an ounce. And if somebody was, let's say we're going to buy a bunch of it, I could see it going to, selling for $40-$50. And, some outdoor weed is very, very nice. I have no complaints. The one thing that we can't do in the LP world is it's very hard to can weed that was grown outside. It's like a big sticky fly trap out in the wind, and every wind goes through it. The dust collects in those cannabinoids. If you're doing your job, it's building up contaminants with the resin, and it builds on itself. So it doesn't pass the microbials for Health Canada. But they do take that product and break it down and make a lot of really nice concentrates out of it. So as long as it's not, we grew some out in Truro, some hemp, and some of that product, because the soil had a bit of heavy metal in it, some of that heavy metal made its way into our product. We had to go through an extra step of getting rid of it. It was an R&D project, but we can be affected by a lot of things when we're growing those plants. They pull stuff into the ground, so they're a bioaccumulator. If you don't know what kind of land it's grown on, it can be pulling a lot of nasties out of it. So they put it in brown fields to clear the contaminants out. So my only question when it comes to buying outdoor weed is you got to talk to someone who knows where it was grown, what kind of soil, and as long as it wasn't done in a chemical factory's backyard, it's very safe.
Well, shit, that's my whole city.
But that's all going to affect the quality of that outdoor product, is the environment it's grown in. We grow it inside. Most of us go through extreme lengths to ensure it's clean and the plant has everything it needs to really grow up and be healthy. Outdoors, you have to baby them and you have to know what you're doing. And we've grown a lot of outdoor weed. And for the most part, that's what I like to smoke. The terpenes are generally, and the flavonoids are more pronounced, because it's getting all these different colors from the sun that we can't even reproduce yet inside. So.
Oh, we're starting to be able to reproduce for indoor, but it's extremely expensive. But that's exactly why I grow outdoors and been growing outdoors for years. Yeah. I've grown indoors. I've grown every way imaginable, doing test after test after test. But outdoor is where I really love to grow.
I like greenhouses. That's a really good compromise.
Yeah, it is. If you've got the right ventilation set up.
We just put them in our tops. They're movable. You always leave them open a little bit. You side roll up with bug mats, and you can get really nice buds grown in those kind of facilities. And if you know how to maintain the humidity, you can actually grow a very dense bud. We have some. We have some greenhouses out here growing bubba and real heavy rock stars in a greenhouse. That's very difficult to do in a moist environment, but it's all about the airflow and it's all about the controlling the humidity. It's a nice way to grow.
It is.
I don't know about, maybe one of you guys, maybe Lenny, you can answer this. There's some LPs that have grown outdoor weed this year, and they're talking about being able to sell that flower. What's your take on that?
I don't know. There's some that have hit the market before. The beauty of it is it's going to be cheaper.
Will it pass all the microbials if it was grown out in a field?
I can't see it passing a microbial without irradiation or e-beaming. I'd be shocked.
I would even go further. When we take an extract from those fields, how much sand we pull out of our filters? That sand is coming from our buds, right? We collect that sand and dirt all summer long. It gets into the bud. It's hard to slow it down.
It's got to pass the testing, so we'll see what happens, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
When you make bubble hash, Erica, to outdoor, you look at your water; it's almost black. You wash a lot of contaminants off your bud.
Off of yours?
Well, just off of most outdoor in general.
I think if
mine.
Protect it, if it's protected, you're fine. Like I grow some in my backyard in the greenhouse. It's great.
Well, Marcel's will be protected.
Oh, yeah. Out in a big field.
Mine's not overly protected, but and my first wash coming out, it's dark, but it's not really dark. And my second wash out gets lighter, and then if I do a third, it's even lighter to almost clear.
I don't know if you can see that, but
a little bit.
Is that your backyard?
No, that's my buddy's backyard. That's in a greenhouse, and that product could be put into, it could be sold on the market because it was protected. It has bug screens. It has a lid on top, and it still is, exposed to the air and the light and the sunshine. So we'll see. We'll see where the market goes.
Oh, there's a market for everything. As I say, you're going to get your ounces at a cheaper price. I just think people, if they think they're going to go get high-end, I don't know, I'll throw a wedding cake like that, right? You ain't going to get the high quads in a bag. But everyone's got their own preference, right?
Everyone wants to buy some weed, so I think that not everyone has big deep pockets.
Some people are looking for that 25 plus dense colors, purples, everything. Some people want to just get cheap trim and make their own oil. I know some people on this probably podcast do
that. Every one of us.
It depends on
it just depends what the
you're
price is.
Or squish it, right? So there's a role for everything. There's different. You're going to get your snobby connoisseur. I think we all, well, maybe not everybody in this listening, but a lot of people in this chat room know my CEO. He's a cannabis snob. He's looking for nothing but primo. Oh.
Turn down a weed sample in my business.
See, I think differently. I think on the side of the patient. And if the patient is smart and knows what they're doing, and somebody's selling a pound for $400 and it's outdoor, they'd be a fool not to take it because they'd be turning it around and turning it into their medicine. It doesn't matter what.
No, I think it boils down to
grown.
How much you consume, how much medicine do you require?
Exactly.
Right? If you only require a small amount. I used to be a chronicler. I used to only buy top shelf stuff, but my requirements medically cost. I would be living on the street and just smoking my weed because that's all I could afford.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. There's a market for every different scenario.
This is my butter. This I make from the waste product at the end of my season. And this butter is like very, very strong. It's probably in a teaspoon. I wouldn't even want to guess, but I take a teaspoon at night and it knocks me out every night. So
it's strong. If it's knocking out Eric, it's strong.
Yeah, it's strong. It's probably up in, I bet there's 100 milligrams or 120 milligrams in that. And if I take more than that, it can actually wake you up at night. So there's a lot of things, like you say, Lenny, you can do with this plant. And I'm an advocate for having people grow their own. And if you grow 4 big plants in your backyard, you can have enough product for the whole winter for you and your family. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't get it right. They end up killing their plants. They ignore them for a while. Like in general, I've seen a lot of people just can't do it. They kill it. They want to grow it, but you just can't. For that, there's another market for them, and it's the ability to buy it. And yeah, you don't want to be paying $20 a gram for medicine. That's crazy. I think that, we jumped the gun. We should have had it medically done first. We should have been talking to insurance companies, but, that's my only opinion on it is should have come in through medical, and we should have spent a little bit more time, getting the science right. And, at this point, I think there was a lot of mistakes made, but we got to jump on, we're one of the first countries in the world to get to do this. So, it did show the mistakes pretty quick and pretty hard. But
the honeymoon is definitely over, eh?
Yeah. Now people got to be looking through their pot glasses at the products. and they got to be looking at it, for value, and they've got to be looking at it for safety, and you want to get what you want to get. Here, the biggest issue we have in this market right now is edibles out here in BC. They're 2 milligram. I know all across Canada, but 2 milligram THC products aren't really moving. Because do any of you guys take 2 milligram capsules 2 milligram gummies?
You know what? I just got some 10 milligrams gummies there, 1-to-1 CBD and THC. And
but that's 10 milligrams. Sal.
Yeah,
he's talking about 2 milligrams.
Yeah, hold on, and that doesn't even fizz me. I mean, I'm used to 4 or 500.
Yeah, because you're not a 10 to 10 guy.
No.
No, when you're tossing all that CBD on there, it's going to take that elevated high experience away from the THC.
Good.
And somebody like myself would be interested to see what 2 milligram gummy would do, because 10 milligrams is too much for me.
So I would be more inclined to put it into a capsule, because you're going to eat 1.5 grams of sugar and fat and everything to get that 2 milligrams.
Agreed.
Like medicine, you're going to eat the whole thing.
Yeah.
So,
and what about those people who need 10? Are they going to eat 5 of those, and then now they've just how much sugar are they eating?
I'm telling you, 2 milligrams is a low dose. It's a very low dose.
Lenny, didn't we do a trial with 3 milligrams of THC and 1 milligram of CBD?
Yeah.
For the powder that we have the patent for.
Yeah.
So if we can ever get that produced, then that's the perfect option for that market. And if that market's growing, we should hit it now.
So Lenny, guys are telling me in the legal stores that their 10 milligrams now are much better because they're using nano emulsification technology so that your body...
Blah, blah, blah. That's some donkey marketer. I've had people make 10 milligrams cookies and brownies forever. They all fucking work. This whole water-soluble shit and emulsification, a lot of that so they can put it so it can go into a beverage or...
Okay, wait now. We have to talk about the beverage.
Yeah, we can talk about that too. But listen, when everyone gets into this nano shit, it's nice marketing, but until you do the fucking Pepsi challenge and put it up against brand X and brand B and brand C,
do it. Set it up. Let's do it. Come on, I'll do it right here on the air.
No, but no company will ever do that, because you know why?
Yeah, I know.
Everyone's gonna say, "Well, it's about the same." And it's like shit. All that investment went down the drain.
I'm
do
also
it all the time in the nutraceutical world.
Yeah, I used to go to a lot of those survey things. You go to 1 or 2 a month, and some you can only go once every 3 months. Beer ones you can only go once a year. And so it was interesting to, I guess, read the questions that they're asking people, and most of the questions didn't make any sense at all.
But in theory, all nanotechnology is they get the particle micronized even smaller. And so in theory, it should absorb better.
Yeah.
But in the end, are you going to get that much more percent absorption and that much more percent elevated experience?
Why does it absorb more when you use less?
It's so small, it goes through your membranes.
The smaller the particle, the more likely it's going to pass through the membranes, things like that. That's just logic.
So they have to break it down to a different kind of emulsion or something?
No, and that's what they're saying, this nanotechnology. They're trying to say the particles are smaller.
Oh.
They'll put a little emulsifiers around.
So it's really just a word that somebody's added to an idea.
It's not necessarily bullshit. It's theoretical. But until you actually take that theory and do a study and compare it, it's all fucking bullshit marketing.
Okay.
As far as your body absorbing nanotechnology, but nanotechnology does exist. We use it.
And the theory is great, But for them to come out and say, "Oh, ours is better because it's nanotechnology," show me the study. Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I think, Lenny, a lot of that is simply because they're 10 milligrams and they are competing against, there's First Nations around here with stores. There's black market stores still in BC. There's the government stores. And I got to say, on the weed side, it's kind of come to a reasonable, like the stores that have legal weed are doing very well. Like I've had some really good products come through. Where they're still lacking is those edibles, those beverages where you could go on the reserve up the road and get a much stronger, like their gummies are 25 and 50 milligrams as opposed to 2 and 5 and 10 milligrams for the same money. Their drinks are 100 milligram drinks. They, and they're doing a good job at it. These are not products that are thrown together. These are done well. I know the science some of these guys are putting into it. So, that's the competition still. The government of Canada has to look at, we can buy 1,000 milligram oil cartridge, but I can only buy a 10 milligram gummy beside it. Is that kind of, if you think about it, where's the logic? Because that 1,000, I can go out in the parking lot and take it all right away. So my gummies, I'm just eating a lot of sugar. I guess that's the argument. Are you eating a lot of sugar and a lot of fat?
Sugar's allowed, though, because it's legal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course.
Actually, am I correct, Marcel? Are you allowed to add, or is it flavoring or sugar to an edible?
Citric acid and sugar is what I saw in most of the drinks I've tried.
Yeah, sugar. I tried the drink.
Go for it,
because
you tried one last week, didn't you?
Oh yeah. Oh, it was a wonderful experience.
What? Okay, well, tell us about it. What was the flavor?
It got funnier.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna even out the brand because
please,
everybody should be scared of this drink.
Okay.
Okay, so all it was called was Deep Space, and the can looks pretty awesome. And they're on my Facebook. I'm not going to share them on YouTube.
What flavor
was
it?
Facebook. No, we're not. You got to go through the whole steps with me, dude, because this was bad. So the can itself looks really cool because it's all black, and it just says Deep Space on it. That's all it says, plus all of Health Canada's warnings and THC content and crap like that, and ingredients. The top is childproof plastic. And basically what it is, it's a pull tab made of plastic that circles around the entire outside of the can top. So you have to pull up the center. But if you pull up the center, you're going to rip off your fingernail if you can get hold of it to pull it. So I just cut one with a knife and then pried it up. Pulled that up. When I pulled the thing up, the whole lid came off the can and it snapped onto my knuckle like a fucking mouse trap. And it was a hard hit and it hurt like hell. So finally I got it open. I popped the can open, poured it into a glass, and it looked like a glass of Coke.
You sure you weren't on a spoon, Marcel?
What?
You sure you didn't eat a spoon when you were trying to open that can?
No. I ate a spoon earlier, but
just check.
So far, all we know is it's Marcel resistant.
Yeah, it was a pain in the ass to get into. So I put it in the glass, and it smelled kind of like going into a hospital or a medical clinic, like a really clean antiseptic type place, like medicinal. Like floor cleaner. That's what it kind of smelled like. So I took a sip of this stuff and think of a taste of mixing Dr. Pepper with Jägermeister.
Yeah.
And maybe then have an aftertaste of Mr. Clean.
Actually, if it wasn't for the aftertaste, it was kind of sounding pretty good.
Oh, it was bad. So I took a drink of it and I set it down and I thought, no, fuck. Nothing can really taste that bad. So I did and went and I had another drink. And because I don't like carbonated drinks to begin with, I don't drink pop or anything like that. I thought, well, I'll let it sit. So I let it sit for a couple hours and actually ended up eating a chocolate ball that I purchased at the NSLC, a truffle. just to get the taste of this drink out of my mouth. And it worked pretty good.
Did you get
a couple hours off? No, because there was 10 milligrams if you drank the whole can.
Yeah.
And it was 221 milligrams in the can.
Ooh.
And it was a much smaller can than all of the other cans. Right?
What flavor was it, though?
Floor cleaner.
Yeah, floor cleaner with Jägermeister and Dr. Pepper.
What flavor was it supposed to be? Cola?
It didn't say.
Oh, okay.
It just said Deep Space.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So the one I tried said citric flavored, and when you looked at the ingredients, it was citric acid, sugar, water, and then the THC ingredient. And you know what? I've had worse tasting, but there was actually no effect out of it.
I've had drinks that have knocked me off my ass, and I've had drinks that have done nothing.
The reason I took that drink was because it was the only one that had 10% THC. It had no CBD. It was the only one that had 10% THC. The rest were all 1-to-1s with maybe 5 milligrams THC at most, down to 2.5 milligrams THC.
How much per gulp?
What? Oh, for $9.
Wow.
$9
is the price on the Nova Scotia liquor. For 10 milligrams.
So like it's $8 plus tax, basically. Right?
Oh no. Well, we won't talk about the taxes. Let's just say on the website they listed it at $9. That's with the taxes.
Wow.
In Nova Scotia, because they're only going to sell if you're in Nova Scotia on the website.
In BC, back just a few years ago, the popular drinks were a little like it looked like a 5-hour energy drink full of a powder. The powder contained 150 milligrams of THC, some CBD, and the rest was sugary. It was like pixie dust or something they called it. So people would buy that and add it to their bottled water, shake it up. It was $3 or $4 for that pouch in that little bottle. There was 100 milligrams in them. So people would use, 2 or 3 sometimes if they were not accustomed to it. So the 10 milligrams, I like the microdosing for some people, but if you're looking to get high, which a rec store, generally that's what people are looking for. I just don't know. Are people getting high on 10 milligrams drinks these days, or is it?
I don't know. I make my own.
We'll do okay at 10 milligrams, guy.
I did eat a 10 milligram chocolate the other night to test somebody's to see how theirs was. Licensed producer. I'm gonna hold off on that because I've got to still just.
You know what?
What all happened? Because I think I did. I mean, I take a lot, and I kind of.
Sounds like you've had a lot tonight, Marcel.
Oh man,
that's them fucking spoons. That's that spoon.
I had a lot, made from somebody that I'm not sure he knows how much he's putting into his product.
Well, and you know what? And I was going to mention that
because unless he had dividing marks to say where he would divide it into maybe 6 or 7 pieces.
You know what? When I make my own stuff, the thing that I like to make the most that I make is I have an empty basket for my Keurig, and I put a nug in there, some mushrooms, and a bag of tea, whatever my choice of tea is, and then I run it through the cycle, and it's instant, and it's always different, it's always medicated, and but it's never the same amount. Like you can gauge, if you take 0.2 of this and 0.5 of that and put it in there, you could come up with a concoction that would be the same every time. But my pain levels and my need are different every time. So why not kind of just, if I need a little bit more, I add a little bit more. Do you know what I mean?
How much mushroom do you put in?
I usually only put 0.1, 0.2 when I'm medicating with mushrooms. So that's what I'll take. I won't take more than that. I don't like the whole heady thing.
I'm not a fan of mushrooms, but
I usually do them alone because I find after about 4 hours or so I get a little grumpy. But it's the second day and beyond for a couple of weeks that I enjoy with no depression and mood swings.
I find microdosing it.
Yeah.
Microdosing it is great.
Yep.
Like, take 1 or 2 a day, 0.1,
No,
0.2.
not even, dude. Once a week, once a month sometimes when I need it. When I feel like I'm slipping,
yeah,
I have a little bit. Sometimes just a stem, sometimes a what do you call it? A cap, you know?
My friend is a scientist. He makes them with an Ecuadorian chocolate and a bunch of things. They're really tasty.
Yeah.
And there's only, like I said, maybe 1.5, maybe 2, 0.2 of a gram of psilocybin in it.
Yeah.
But they actually I gotta say, they make me feel better. And
I find the next day, my depression is kicked to the door for about 2 weeks or so.
You find if you smoke a joint on those mushrooms or after even microdosing that it affects you more?
I know because I smoke a joint anyways, so I wouldn't notice the difference.
But I find when I smoke, when I'm taking the microdose, one day I just sat there and realized, holy cow, I'm really friggin' baked. Like, and I'm pretty seasoned.
I don't like that baked feeling. I like to be alert.
I don't either. Just to hit me sideways at night. I don't mind if I'm watching a movie.
Sometimes, like Mary Jane, we were talking the other day. I don't know where she's gone, but shit, I forgot what I was going to say.
That was good weed, Al.
You know what? I'm smoking the freebie I got for going to the res earlier. So I don't know what it is.
Whereabouts are you? You're in Toronto, or just outside Toronto?
Technically.
Oh, okay.
Right now I'm in Trent Hills.
Trent Hills. Okay.
Yeah, Ontario.
Okay.
So about an hour and a half, 2 hours out of the city.
So I have a friend that's up in a place called Drumbo. You know where that is?
I've heard of it.
It's an hour and a half out of the city, heading towards. Get on the highway off the. I go up to his place pretty regularly, but it's. I guess on the way, you're traveling east from the airport, about an hour and a half. Drumbo. They have there are a lot of guys up there that are in the industry that really do it well.
I'm about 10 minutes from the Alderville Reservation.
Gotcha.
And Mary Jane is near Tanganega. And there's another reservation near here, but I don't know if they have weed. Alderville is called the Green Mile. It's a mile-long stretch of 18 legal reservation cannabis dispensaries. And some are nice and friendly, and like any business, some are not.
Yeah.
Right?
I went out to Oka last year.
Don't know where that is.
Visited some of the Oka, Quebec, at Ontario, right at the Ottawa or the St. Lawrence River. And same thing. I pulled in there, and it was like being in a parade, except the parade was on the side of the road. I'm driving up, and I'm looking at there's a store every 500 feet.
10 years ago, I was amazed going down to Brantford to buy smokes, to buy cartons of smokes. Now you go not in Brantford, but now you go to the reservation, and you go into the weed store, and they sell smokes. It's not the smoke store that sells weed; it's the weed store that sells the smokes now. Right.
I grew up in Montreal, so we used to go down to the we called it Cognawaga Indian Reserve, was across the river. I remember my dad going and buying, got a car there, bought all his smokes, his booze.
Yep.
Was on the border, so they could had access to both Canada and the U.S. So there was quite a thriving industry back in the day on some of those reserves, and I think they're starting to see that again.
Still is.
I think you're seeing that again. There's a resurgence with some of these stores, and as long as it's being shared in the community, I suppose.
Well, different people have different opinions on that. Anyways, I'm going to change the subject because we've got to let Darcy have his time slot here because he's done a nice little recording for us today. And so we're going to take a recording. Yep. So
Get a break.
I fixed it up and made it sound a little better. And we're going to listen to it. And then we'll be back to continue our conversation with Eric from Nitro Tin and the rest of the guys here on the 420 Radio Show.
Hey, this is Cheech.
And this is Chong.
And you're listening to Lifestyle Radio. What is it? Lifestyle Radio. Say it one more time.
420 Radio?
Ooh.
Please hang up and try again.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
Today I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about cloning. Cloning is a process of taking slips or cuttings off of a mother plant. A mother plant is a plant that you grow out with the best characteristics that you're looking for in that strain. Could be a pheno, so this is all things to consider when picking a mom. But the reason of growing that mom out is so you can have something to take your clones off of for your next round of grow. The clones propagate using rooting hormone or a root stimulant. These consist of stem root. There's gels and powders. I use stem root, which is a powder. I prefer it, but there's also gels out there on the market like Clonex, Remo, Psycho, Nutrient Plus. So there's pretty much all your nutrient brands, major brands have a cloning gel, but I prefer to stick with stem root. It's a powder. Stem root number 2, not number 1. Number 1 is for really, really, really softwoods. Cannabis is a semi-hardwood, so you want number 2 for semi-hardwood. Not 3, because 3 is for straight hardwood. So it's number 2. The reason we take these clones off of a mother plant is so we have a genetically identical plant as the mom. So this is why it's healthy to make sure that you use clean moms, free of pathogens and mildews and molds. Like I said, it's very important. Cleanliness is key. Some things you will need when doing this process is clean razor blades or scalpels, as you want sterile because you do not want to introduce any bacteria to that cut. As we all know, it will get infected, and infections aren't good. So, the second thing you will need is isopropyl alcohol for cleaning your tools, cleaning your surfaces. It's very important. Cleaning is a very important part of this process. A clean cutting board, plastic or stainless steel, I prefer to do your cuttings on. Media to put your clones into consists of rabbit rooters, jiffy pucks, rockle cubes, or you can even go directly right into peat or cocoa. Depending on what you choose for media to grow in will result in what you use to cut your clones with. If you plan to go into water, it's best to use rock wool. If you go into soil or cocoa or peat, you can use any of the three: rabbit rooters, cocoa, peat, rocker cubes, jiffy pucks. You can use all of them for soil or a soilless mix. But if you're growing in water, like deep water culture or aeroponics, it's best to with aeroponics, it's best just to get yourself a cloning dome. But we'll get into that more later on or in another segment, because that's a whole segment on itself. But yeah, so it's best to choose your media, then that'll result in what you use to clone with. You want a cloning dome, a rigid plastic one with at least 7-inch high dome on it, and a tray. The bottom tray should be a sturdy plastic tool. I prefer to use Sunblaster ones. It's a brand name. I've had good success with them, so this is why I use them. Other things you need to use is a seed heat mat. Most of them come if it doesn't come with a controller, most of them come preset at like between 78 and 80. But if yours does come with a controller, which is optional, mine has a controller on it at home, so I could dial in my temperatures and keep them consistent. So that's why I use controller. But like I said, most heat mats come already preset, so they won't get any hotter than what the preset is. Another thing you need is a rooting hormone, like a stem root or a psycho gel or a remo gel. Like I said, I prefer to use powder. I've used them both. I've used them both at the same time. I find just that stem root works best for me. Not saying that none of the other products don't work. That's what I find works for me. Lemon juice. The reason I use lemon juice is just my pH down. I put a couple drops in my water when I pre-soak my Rockwell cubes to bring the pH down. I'll get into more of that down in the next few steps. And then you need a light. Nothing fancy, nothing too intense. A low intensity light works best, like a T5 or an LED, or you could even buy CFL lights. Something low, you don't need anything too bright. You just got to remember you just want to keep light on them. So those are some of the supplies that you would need. So now that you have your supplies, it's time to start the process. First, make sure that you pre-soak your media into RO water. Make sure your pH is on. I pH mine at between 5.6 and 5.8 for my clones. That's where I like to keep it. Any higher, any lower, I find starts affecting the success rate. So it's very important just to make sure that. That's why I put a few drops of lemon juice in and then test my water with a pH meter. If you don't have a pH meter, usually 10 or 12 drops of lemon juice will bring it down enough that you can use it to get your clones to take. So if you don't have one. Or you can use pH down if you want. I prefer to use lemon juice, but that's, like I said, that's me. Now that we got all that done, we want to make sure that after we pre-soak our Rockwell cubes that we do not squeeze the water out of them. We dump the water out of the tray. I sit mine up on like a baker's rack for a couple minutes to let some of the excess water drip out, and then I put them back into my dome. The last little bit of water that drips out will help control the humidity inside of that dome, so that's another important step to remember too. But now that we have all that stuff under control, and now we're ready to move on to the next step, which is go over to your mother plant. You want to find a nice branch with some new growth on it. Take your cutting device. Can be scissors, could be scalpel, can be a razor blade, as long as it's sterile and sharp. We want to make that cut on a 45. Actually, first we want to go, and after we find that branch with the new cuttings, we want to go count from the top, count 3 notes down. Take your cutting. You want to make sure that there's a note underneath that can grow out for a new clone or a new branch down the road. That's an important thing to remember. But make sure you're 2 notes high, and then cut a 3rd note. Take your cutting and put it into a glass of water until you're ready. This is RO water. If you don't have RO water, sterile water works great. Chances of your tap water hurting you as slim, unless you live in town with chlorine and fluorides and stuff. But if you're using well water, you're all right. We'll get into water a little more and how important it is here in one of the next episodes. But for now, I'm going to continue. So after you took it and put it in a glass of water till you're ready, we want to, and the reason we put it in the water is so it don't wilt, and you don't want to get an air bubble in that stock. Airlocks are not good. Now we take the cutting out of there, dip it into the stem root. Actually, what I like to do is take a little bit of stem root out, put it onto a plate so you don't contaminate your stem root inside of your dish. So take a little bit out, shake it on a plate, roll your stalk in it, get it on there, about 1.5 to 2 inches of your stalk. You don't need a whole lot, but you do need some on there. What I like to do is put a little dab in the hole, but like I said, that's just me. And then when you push your clone after it's got the stem root on it, you want to push it in. You want to make sure that it's snug, firm. If you have a big hole around the stalk and you can see down in it, I like to take a little bit of the Rockwell cube and a little bit of the Rockwell off the side and poke in the hole to fill the hole in so everything is nice, snug, and secure. But like I said, that's just me. You don't have to do that. That's just a little tip that I found that works and gives me about a 98 to 99% success rate depending on strain. And that's another thing that's important. Everything is also strain dependent. So now that we have our rock wool in our, once clone is in the tray, now that we have it in our rock wool or in our soil or whatever media we use to do our cloning, now we're going to place that into that dome. We're going to take a spray bottle and we're going to spray just a fine mist of a mild nutrient-based solution inside of there. So when it drops down onto them, it helps them from yellowing out. I like using, there's different products you can use on the market. Clonex has a product. Olivia Clone Solution has a product. Most of your companies have a product that you can use for clones to keep them from yellowing out. Sea Boost, which is kelp and seaweed based, I like using it because it also helps speed up the propagation process and keeps my clones from yellowing out. You want to put them clones under 24 hours of light. Most people do. I use a 20-hour light cycle on, 4-hour light cycle off for my clones, but like I said, that's just me. That's what I find my best success at. But most people use 24 hours of light. It's not going to hurt you. That's why it's important to use like an LED or a T5 or even a CFL light, because they're low wattage and low power draw. So lights on for 24 hours. That's an important thing if you're on a budget. Check on them periodically. You want to over the next 7 to 10 days, just to make sure that they're not drying out, but they're not too wet. There's that happy medium there. It might take you a while to find that happy medium, but there is that happy medium there where the clones love it. 90% humidity inside that dome they really like. After about 5 days of the dome being on there, I'll take the dome off for an hour or two a day to let natural air and temperature from the outside in there. But that, like I said, that's just me. So it should take you about 7 to 10 days to get your roots on your clones. Any longer than that, like I said, there's all kinds of different factors to add in there. You can go back over the steps and check them out and see if maybe you messed up on one or the other. But like I say, 7 to 10 days, most clones will root up. But like I say, some strains go longer, other strains go shorter. It's a lot of that's strain dependent. And if you take your clone off your plant and it's got a woodier stalk, you want to split that stalk to the hormone get in past that bark, because that bark's going to be hard for roots to push out. So that's why I like using nice, new, tender, or soft shoots, but not too soft. I like to have them a little firm, but it's still a new shoot. So when you push it into the rock wall, push it into the media, it doesn't bend over, because that sucks. Once you do that, you're breaking that inner herd, which is then going to affect the quality of your clone. So it's another thing to take into consideration. So, but yeah. So guys, that's pretty much my cloning process. If you guys have any questions, feel free to message us here at 420radio.ca. Call in during the show if you want. I'm pretty sure Al still has that option for people, or message us in our chat room. Actually, come join us in our chat room. Talk to us. I'm in there. Say hi. Ask questions. I'll be sure to answer. Like I say, I have my own methods of growing. I don't suggest anyone, if someone tries something I do and it don't work, don't get pissed off at me. Like I said, that's what works for me. Everybody's different, but this is where I have my success. So I like to share it with you guys, and hopefully you can have some success from it too.
You're listening to 420radio.ca, Canadian Cannabis Radio.
And we're back. That was Darcy's first little recording thingy. And look who's awake. Hi, Dale. Dale's awake now. Dale fell asleep earlier.
No, I've been here.
No, you were sleeping, dude. We were watching you.
You were pretty much out, Dale.
you're like this.
That's I'm just looking down.
Yeah.
He was zoning in when he was trimming. That's a hash.
Let's get that Santa glow going.
I got a question for Eric about nitrogen.
Go for it.
Or actually, well, it's kind of about nitrogen, but it's more about the hemp plastics. Is it not true, Eric, that the highest concentration of hemp plastic that's on the market right now is like, what, 28%, 29%?
You know, there's a lot of different ways to skin that cat, pardon the pun. Bioplastics, you know, like there's a lot of ways, I guess, to make composites. So what they're trying to do is they could break down that carbon fiber really, you know, fine material that's in that fast fiber. So you can make it you can pulverize it down really fine. They compress it under pressure and they carbonize it. You can actually add that to injection molding and create some really interesting products. 3D printers are using some of this kind of material. I think that there's some positions, at least in the R&D world, they're 100% now with the amount of bio-resin and bioplastic that you can make products out of. But I think, for instance, when one of the boat manufacturers here in Kelowna, one of their green boats, electric boats, they say that maybe 10 or 20% of the fiber reinforced plastic, the FRP, from a bio resin. So, yeah, I think that they can go up over that 20%. The problem is, though, there's so much glue and resins holding it all together that, you know, there's something called VOCs, right? Volatile organic compounds. And I don't know if anyone's testing, you know, as far as adding medicine to that. So I think you have to coat these kinds of containers. And I don't know what the cost savings are yet to go into hemp composites, Darcy. Plastic's something I'm interested in. We have a small engineering company. It's an R&D company. We've got a patent with UBC for a fiber-reinforced plastic. We're trying to convert that to a bio-resin. But it's a long process and a lot of money. And we're fighting the system, right? Every time we change and disrupt technology, it causes problems. These cans, going back to the cans, they don't upset anyone. They've been around for a long time. Old people like them. Young people like them. But we've heard a lot of early on there was a lot of rumors going around that cannabis would dry out if it was nice, or there'd be an effect or a funny flavor. That's not the case at all. They can talk about the science. I mean, it's well proven. You can't find anything now in Canada that doesn't have, a nitrogen or an inert gas component to it for preservation. So why not in cannabis? So they're starting to, and you can put it in a plastic bag. You're still going to have issues with leaching. So, going to the bioresins, bioplastic, we're not there yet. I think we're I've got a composites company. We're not there yet. This is the easiest way we can do it as far as, I would love to make a composite lid, that child-resistant lid. I don't like making them out of plastic. We could make one 20, 30% bio, but it's not really going to benefit anything yet. So we can still recycle everything. I think as the market evolves and changes, you're going to see all kinds of different packaging coming into play probably. And size differences, I've seen a 1 ounce coming out and half ounces coming out. We're preparing to make containers those sizes. And there are budget, minded consumers that are looking to get it for less money. And we'll, as long as the product's safe and clean, I don't care what they're paying for it. If they want to pay, $10 an ounce for it, it's got to come down to the product's got to be safe. You can't compromise safety on price. And,
well, honestly, Truro Cannabis, not to toot our own horns, we've had some pretty decent reviews of our product.
Excellent reviews.
Yeah, no, but a big part of those reviews is no fucking secret, everybody. The moisture's pretty good. That's the nitrogen. I give credit to the growers and their curing and all that stuff. Don't get me wrong, but it's getting to the shelf and maintaining the moisture, and that's the nitrogen.
Absolutely, and honestly, Lenny, we can't find enough. Like, we're still working through with some of the new companies. You're going to see a lot more companies coming on. Like, we have Muskoka grown products are in cans now. We have One Leaf. One Leaf is an amazing little growing company. They're in Saskatchewan. They've got growers there that are growing beautiful products. Like I've seen a lot of I've seen a lot of grows. These guys are putting their product in cans. They're pre-sold. Once the wholesalers got those cans, they're gone. Truro is sold out. Muskoka's sold out. We have a half dozen companies. I think you'll see a lot more product going out into cans in the next year. And we're pushing hard to make some changes and make sure that people at least have choices. The markets are all different. Pricing in, Quebec is different than pricing in Nova Scotia, different than pricing in British Columbia. We all kind of have our little micro economies. Like what's an average eighth go for in Toronto, for instance, like in a store, and then compare it to what you get in the legacy market.
I actually know
in Toronto.
Yeah, I don't go to legal stores.
Then he's going to know the prices of all of the places. So
I know in Ontario, the average eighth, the majority of it's going between $40 and $48.
Between $40 and $48.
40 and 48. That's the range where most of the volume is.
Wow.
All right. When I was in Saskatchewan this summer, I bought 2 containers of product, and it was $122 for 2 eighths. Saskatchewan historically has always paid more money for cannabis. Mind you, the cannabis was very, very good, but it was a little bit on the high end, and I think their average pricing is $40 to $50. Some areas, in BC here, you have some stores that have pretty good products now at $16 a eighth. I got to show you one just because a friend of mine owns a store. He showed me this. I don't like the package. Right? It's a big box. And
stop.
But the name of this product is Next Light. It's like Quest. And I was very impressed with the smoke. And I'm an old Montrealer, been smoking my whole life. And there's some products that are starting to come around. And I don't think this was overly expensive. It might have been $40. But I got to tell you, the flavor, the nose, I was impressed. I just wish they'd change their packaging. It was amazing. It would be much better if it was in a can. So I think there's going to be some changes, Al. It's coming along, right? I support all the markets. I'm a cannabis user. We're cannabis, we're cannabis survivors. We survived because of the cannabis product.
It's certainly different to see what we used to use to now. I mean, the packaging is a little bit much.
Yeah.
But, to be honest, I'm okay with a baggie.
Do you remember the album cover, the double album cover?
Yeah.
So when I used to buy, I grew up in Montreal. So you'd have to buy some weed. And you'd have to break it all up on an album cover and get all the seeds to the middle. And
the wall.
Half that damn bag was seed. The rest was, I know how they did it in Mexico back in the day. They put it on a car jack, put a car over it, and crushed down the container and sent that off to the U.S. and Canada. And, I remember the weed being like that when I first started seeing weed. And they used to spray paraquat all over that stuff, which was basically like an Agent Orange, a defoliant, and they still sold that all over the world. So, in the 60s and 70s, a lot of people were smoking paraquat and Agent Orange. So, there are some benefits to moving forward and getting legal. At least we can get rid of some of the nasty shit.
They're talking about Mexican brickweed.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, we've come a long way, and I go to Mexico every year. And, I'm not a fan of what I can get there.
It's kind of like Florida dirtweed back in the 70s.
I got to say, I did meet a guy at the hotel I was at last, and they were actually growing hydro indoors. Money, but it was amazing.
We've had, in my building in Toronto, where I live, and we've had this past 3 months or so, four different people move out, and each one of them had a grow in their other room that they had there in their apartment. And it's happening more and more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you look out at the balconies in my building over the past 2 summers, and you can see weedies popping out here and there. I think it's great. I mean, people are doing their own thing, right?
Yeah, 100%.
There's a market for everything. There's a market for you doing your own thing, and there's a market for going and purchasing what other people do.
I saw it when we ran our dispensaries. So we would sell, people inherently look for the easiest path in a lot of ways. So we'd sell in buds, and I think back in the day it was $8 to $10 a gram for buds, and in our little stores, in our little clinics. And then we started selling pre-rolls. The pre-roll literally was twice the price of buying a bud because the staff were rolling them up and selling them. Mm-hmm. We started selling everything with pre-rolls because people would come in and we go, man, take a gram, roll a couple joints. You can buy one joint, half a gram, 3/4 of a gram for way more money.
Well, look at moon rockets in Canada. It's a huge product in Canada and the States. Dan's he lucked out. He jumped in the market way before it was supposed to be there, and he has a staple.
He was one of the lucky ones that got through the illegal side of it.
He does a good business down in the States as well, so he was smart. He went south of the border as well as continuing to do his legacy market stuff up here.
These were our brands. Like we did BC Co-op certified. That was us. Mm-hmm. We started this because people were coming into our stores selling us crap. We had to start testing everything. We had some couple come in, really trustworthy looking, and suppliers, and they had these containers. I didn't know much about CBD, but they were selling a CBD product, and it had a good reputation. So we started taking it in and had it in our store, and people were coming back. Then we had the average age in our clinic was 50 years old. So 70 and 80 was pretty common coming in every day. And, it ended up that, I guess, it doesn't really matter. I don't want to take up all of this time with these stories. The stores in back in the day, these people were selling product there was no CBD in it. We tested it, and it came back and they were micro dosing THC. So the little old ladies that were taking it were getting an effect because it was 0.1 milligrams per ml THC and 0 CBD. They were selling it as a 700 or 800 milligrams per.
Yeah, there's a few products that Tim Barnhart at Legacy 420 has outed. He's had them tested himself. Stuff that we used to see at our markets in Hamilton all the time. Products that sold crazy out the door. To find out that this instance of a chocolate bar is put out there at this much milligrams, and it's only got 2 or whatever it is. It's much lower than it's advertised. It's pretty shameful, because these are products that I know quite well, that I know a lot of people that use them, and I'm like, wow, are you fucking come on now. That's like going and buying a Coca-Cola, and it's not being a Coca-Cola.
Well, we certified it because most people came to us for medicine.
Yes.
Right? To us for medicine, and we don't want to do any harm. Now, if it turned out that the product didn't do any harm, and it actually was helpful, but the point is, people take CBD as an anti-inflammatory, not as an analgesic or pain control, and they were given the wrong information. So this went on for a lot of years, and it's still going on. So,
yeah. And it'll always go on. I mean, look, it's going on in the market. Look at all the fake clothes you can get. Look at all the fake drinks you can get.
And you're putting it in your family's mouth as medicine, and you find that someone's doing something wrong. I'm old school. I might want to come and talk to you. You're sick, right? And somebody needs to advocate for them. And I've always tried to be that advocate. So when we got into the challenge,
so why don't you? We're at the end of our show, so why don't you do me a favor, Eric, and just
we're at the end of our show.
Yep. Look at the time, dude.
Yes, Marcel, that spoon was really good, wasn't it?
You're like, yeah,
ice cream's pretty good too, though, Marcel.
But there's a good example on milligrams.
Yeah, really though, hey.
Because I wake up every morning and I take a capsule, and it's probably 25 milligrams THC. That runs me all day. I'm fine all day.
Not all night, though.
Tonight I decide it's Friday night. I decide I'm going to eat an edible. And this is somebody that doesn't either want to do the math or doesn't get this product tested. So I like how he does it. Each edible is 100 milligrams THC. So I guess it would be up to you to divide it up into 10 pieces.
You were so inclined.
Well,
just give me the whole fucking thing, please.
If there was markings on it to indicate that, then that wouldn't be a bad idea. But eating the whole thing is pretty good. So that's 100 milligrams of RSO, all right, which means it's 100 milligrams of oil.
RSO.
If his oil's running around 70%, let's say he's running 70%.
It was 74.8 actually.
Oh, there we go.
The oil was lab tested, just not the edible.
Was that distillate oil?
No, that was actually
whole plant extract.
That's pretty good.
And charcoal filtered, Eric.
You don't usually get that high unless you go to the next level. And
no. We know how to do it down here.
So, Eric, please give your business a plug and tell people where they can find you if they want to know more information about Nitro10.
Sure. You can go look at our website, nitrotin.com. We have a lot of information, some cool pictures. We have, look at Truro Cannabis when you're looking at cannabis. Look at Muskoka Grown, and look at One Leaf. Those three are, blazing a trail with these products. Their products are great. So I would encourage people, to whatever you're doing, encourage the people in your retail to try and get Nitro-Tins in. We're going to do our best to get them out. You'll see in the next 6 months, there'll be a lot more companies running our tins, and give them a try. Please contact us if you have any comments, nitrotin.com, and I'll talk to anybody about this. And we really do believe in taking care of the person that's going to use the material. And that's always been our belief. So thank you for having me on, Al. I hope I didn't monopolize it too much.
No. We're all about conversation and not question and answer period per se.
So,
it's our Friday. It was 12 years worth, buddy. So
nice. Well,
hi, I don't care.
Yeah, me too.
Seeing you guys again. So.
Oh, well, anytime you want to come in and hang out, you're more than welcome, Eric. And next time you're in Toronto, I'm sure we'll see you as well.
You get the link now, Eric. You can join anytime.
There you go.
Okay, well, I might just be a fly on your wall every now and
then. No, there's a few of them around here. Look at the sleepy motherfucker in the center there.
I think he's probably reading something down there. I don't know.
And if you come to visit, plan an extended stay.
Yeah. Our guests aren't allowed to leave. That's the clause that you sign when you come in.
Although we haven't seen Kurt in a few weeks.
He's got some projects on the go. He said he'd be with us next week or the week after. Right. So yeah. Yep.
Just remember, Eric, this is like the Hotel California. Once you come, you can never leave.
That's right. And on that note, I'm going to say good night to all. Thank you very much for joining us. This is the 420 Radio Show. We are here live, 420radio.ca, and usually on Facebook. Today it didn't work, so we did it on YouTube. And on that note, we're going to go like this and go all the way down here and do this.
So what are you doing?
Hashtag fuck plastic.
Trying to get on the Lifestyle Radio website. Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh,
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.